From the center of the galaxy, this is ForceCenter, a show about Star Wars, pop culture, the ultimate adventure, life itself, which includes crunchy internet. I'm Ken Napzok.
I'm Crunchy Jen Landa.
And I'm Crunchy Joseph Scrimshaw.
That's good. Crunch. We're live on a Monday, and we apologize for internet. It's not us, man. It's not my fault. It's not my fault, says Han Solo. We try to upload files to StreamYard. You try to stream in 3 different locations. Spectrum Internet lies about what they offer. They just lie about what they offer. Well, you get 1 gig on the upload. Nope, that's not true. That's only where available, and it's not available in LA.
Yeah. If we're lucky, someday the crunch will be like people reminiscing about the modem dial-up screams that we all used to endure back in the day. Remember when they used to be crunchy faces on live streams?
Yeah, God. My first live stream show that I did regularly was in 2010, a pro wrestling show, and wow. I found some footage there. That was like 320p. Amazing. Hey, we are going to be discussing some Star Wars news. We'll get to that in a second. Not a lot of news to discuss. We'll also give you an update on Star Wars Visions Volume 3 and what our plans are for it. We're going to be talking about the legacy of the Stranger. We'll get to that in a second. We do want to remind you today's show is brought to you by our own merch shop on Fourth Wall. Check out our merch store. Pick up a t-shirt, a pint glass, a coaster, something to help support the show. Represent ForceCenter out in the galaxy. Head to ForceCenter-shop.fourthwall.com, ForceCenter-shop.fourthwall.com for that. We're glad that you're watching us live here on YouTube, or you might be listening later in the audio feed. But Joseph, we are trying to build up our YouTube subscribers. It is an ask/goal.
That is right. It's an ask goal. We are trying to build to 10,500 subscribers on YouTube. So I assume if you're here in our live stream, you might subscribe to us. But if not, please go hit the button, ring the bell, circle the wagon, whatever the iconography is these days on YouTube. Please go do that and tell your friends. You can also follow us on Blue Sky and TikTok, where we continue to attempt to post more often.
We attempted. A little busy stretch for all of us. We're there with that. Life Adventures, a little bit more the episode later in the week. We're going to be doing a look back on the marketing and the trailers of Force Awakens, part of the ForceCenter 10-year look back celebration, if you will. But happy to have everyone here. The gang is all here, Jen. We're all here.
Yes, Life Adventures, which I was realizing, I was like, what were my life adventures besides Halloween? And I have one. Relates to our Discord. So my husband was Bob Ferguson for Halloween from One Battle After Another, Leonardo DiCaprio's character. So he was looking for a bathrobe, a plaid bathrobe. And so he went to Ross and he texts me and he's like, look, this Ahsoka action figure. It was $3.99, like a Black Series Ahsoka action figure. And then there was a Master Soul action figure. It was actually more expensive, $5.99. $5.99. And I was like, oh, that's really sad. Like, what's going on? I was just getting really kind of sad, just depressed about it. Because I'm like, this is not good for my Star Wars. Like, these action figures are on such a great discount. And then I went to our Discord. And people were like, hey, go to this Ross, scoop them up. Guess what I found? And I was like, that's why I love my ForceCenter friends, because like you all had so much joy finding these action figures at such a great price. And it was just, it like reframed how I was looking at it, which was like, business and as opposed to just like as a fan, like, isn't that great? I can go to my local Ross and what treasures might I find for $3.99?
Yeah, it's part of the natural life cycle of the action figures these days. It can be like a big sign of trouble if it's like, oh, there's this one character and clearly not as many people bought it because there's like lots and lots and lots of them at Ross. But it is also just part of it of like once they aren't selling at other places, eventually they end up at Ross. It's like it's sad and it's beautiful. It's like, being in your 80s. It just happens to all of us if we're lucky.
The retirement center.
Yeah.
For action
This is where action figures go to who haven't found their true friends yet. They go to Ross, and then they find their true friends.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that's a good adventure. I recently was in a Ross Dress for Less in Las Vegas on a Monday night at 10:30, and it was packed. It was the weirdest experience. I know people live in town, but this was like the Ross for Less Dress for Less on the Strip, across from the MGM Grand. And I was texting Mark Ellis. I was like, dude, the party's here. I can't even move around. Like, people are like, I forgot a belt. I don't know what these people forgot. It was great. No slot machines in there. Ross is an adventure. I didn't see any Star Wars toys. Yeah, the business, the toy. I mean, you go to a box store and, you know, a $27.99 for a Black Series figure. And a lot of this is not just related to the toy industry, but also, you know, tariffs, things like that. Kind of the political scene of the day. Yeah, it's part of it there. Big part of it. So I think, Jen, that's a bargain. You should have scooped them up and gone and sold them at a swap meet.
Oh, yeah. I was more business savvy.
Did your husband pick you up an action figure?
No, we can't. We can't. We have so much stuff. I have bags and bags of stuffed animals for my kids that they won't let me get rid of. So then they're in our garage along with some of my action figures. So no more stuff.
No more stuff.
I understand. I understand.
Stuff
When I
is
was in Minneapolis for the premiere, my wife and I had gone to Ragstock, which is a kind of hip used clothes and some news clothes. I have an interest in more kind of old man sweaters, and my wife is really interested in me wearing more old man sweaters. And we found this very, very large blue old man sweater that I really liked, and she's like, "Try it on." And she's like, "It's perfect. It's kismet." But it's so like big that it did not fit in any of my luggage. So then my dad had to send me a $6 sweater that I bought through the postal mail. Yeah.
Can you walk me through is this? You look like the Mon Calamari in Mando in the sweater. What's the old man sweater look like?
An old man sweater. Imagine a Mon Calamari like that is also hosting Masterpiece Theater. It is a lounge in a Barca lounger near a fire and tell young folks a story of past times sweater.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. And it's a good blue. It's a good blue. But I was relating to they definitely have too much stuff.
Yes. Stuff indeed. I'm selling my stuff. It's tough to sell stuff too. There you go. That's it. I had no life adventures. I got through Halloween, my least favorite holiday, which is always I have to be so nice to all of you because all of you love Halloween and I despise it. And I have to sit there and I have to just pretend that I didn't grow up with it. I just don't
neither
like
did
costumes.
I.
It doesn't have to be about costumes.
Yeah, it's about candy corn, which I do love.
I can make you like Halloween.
Many have tried, including one that lived with me for a long time. I had to go to a party Friday night, which was fun, but I had this little window where I couldn't get there. I was going to get there early. It was going to be like one of the first to walk in because I needed parking. But I couldn't leave too early. Also, you parked on some hill waiting to walk into the party. And I forgot to turn the lights off and block my door. And trick-or-treater showed up. And my dog went just bonkers. And I can't have that because now I'm going to leave and she's going to be traumatized. And I felt bad. But then the kids, and I went into this in depth on the blathering, the kids peeked through my front door. And I hear the kids go, "We see it. Someone's in there. We see it," and they're knocking. And so I yelled at the kids. I was like, "Stop knocking! Like, stop it!" And I was like, I just became like a character. I'm a character from like a coming of age film. Don't go to old man Ken's house. He'll yell at you on Halloween. I felt bad. So I need to find my peace.
You, in my opinion, need to be introduced to the elements of Halloween that you would enjoy and be given the space to find yourself within them. Okay. And I think other people have tried to tell you, I could be wrong. So please, this is my guess. I feel other people have tried to tell you how to do Halloween their way.
Yeah.
And I think you someday will find an opportunity to explore the joys of Halloween in a way that makes sense to you.
I'm listening.
If you did you and your former living at the same place partner ever do give out candy? Is that something you did?
No. She didn't. She never did. She never, because she doesn't like people. So she loves Halloween, but more for the pagan. Yeah, she just despises kids, and I'm not a huge fan either anymore. So that we because it would traumatize our dogs. We got chihuahuas,
Yeah.
so we try to lights off, and when I left for the Halloween party, I very angrily threw my trash can in front of my door to block it. And poor kids were walking up and they go, oh, and then they walked away. I was like, no candy. So yeah. I gotta find it. I gotta find it.
If Halloween is all logistical problems and people yelling at you because you're not doing it right, no wonder you don't love it. And that's how you started out, right? With don't love that.
Yeah. I
Jesus
was
will
told
hate
not
you.
to love
Don't
it.
love that. Yeah.
And I don't love because costumes are like wordplay to me and puns. When someone's like, I'm dressed as the fly on Mike Pence's head. I'm like, I don't stop.
No.
Stop. You're an adult. Stop this. Stop.
Yes. So here's my very brief spiel. I talked a little bit on the episode that's going to come out on Thursday about going to see the screening of the Phantom of the Opera with live opera music at the United Theater in downtown LA. Used to be the theater at Ace Hotel. Beautiful theater screening, and then afterwards they had this costume contest and dance party in this lobby of this beautiful lobby of an old hotel. My wife is a dancer in that she's literally does like modern dance, but she's not always a big social dancer. She doesn't always like to do that, but I kind of like to do that. So we got lucky, and in this theater there's the lobby, but then there's also little balconies in a second level of the lobby. And we got one of the little balcony windows. So we were just standing up there like Statler and Waldorf, watching everybody dance, right?
Yes.
And this is what I was thinking about. There's people in all sorts of different costumes. Somebody dressed up as Ahsoka Tano, a couple dressed up as Phantom of the Opera and the lady he kidnaps. Like all these different costumes, right? And to me, I thought a lot about it's the heart of Halloween. Plenty of people dressed up as spooky things. It's all about monsters and death. Yeah. But it was just community and people getting to dress up what they want to, hang out with the people they like, have community, have fun. And I think that's what Halloween is this weird mix of let's look death in the face. Let's watch nothing but movies where horrible murderers kill people for no reason. But it's also about candy and community and fun. There is no guilt in Halloween. People have guilted you in Halloween, but it's not like Thanksgiving. Spend it with your family and think this about America. Christmas, spend it with your family and don't shop at this store. Like, there's no built into Halloween itself. It's watch scary movies, go to strangers' house and make them give you effing free candy. If dress up. There was a woman, I'm not kidding. There was a woman at this party dressed as a sexy pencil. She had just like a pointed thing at her head and then like a skimpy dress that had like an eraser basically at her crotch. And you're just looking at that and going like, society didn't pressure that woman to dress as a sexy pencil. That woman for some reason said, the way to express myself on this night of freedom where I look death in the face and make myself feel more alive is to dress like a sexy pencil, because that's what I want to do. If you can find a way to let yourself into the spirit of what makes you feel alive, what makes you feel like this is a night for you to go out and either do something that makes you feel alive or just watch other people feel alive, I think you can get into the spirit of Halloween.
Okay. I'll try it. I'll try it with you all next year. And for the record, I'm not a huge fan of Thanksgiving or Christmas either. In fact, I spend both of those holidays alone and yell at anyone who invites me to a Friendsgiving. I hate the term Friendsgiving. I'm like, do not invite me. I'm home alone. I go to the grocery store. I go to Whole Foods. I get food. I come back and I watch football by myself. So maybe the problem, Joseph, is me.
No, I'm going to be the devil on your shoulder. And I'm going to say, you don't approach it from like community. I'm going to say you approach it from like messing with people. Part of the fun about Halloween is you get to mess with people, adults or kids. And guess what? They love it. There was a neighbor who dressed up like Pennywise, but he sat commitment. He sat in this chair so that we all thought that it was like one of those, like, I don't know, like a doll or something. And then kids would start going up close to go take pictures, and parents too. And they're like standing next to him, like, and he would go, ah. I saw grown men and women screaming for their lives. The children were loving it. It was hilarious. I love when my kids go to the door and there's like a grumpy old person that's like, who are you supposed to be, kid? Why are you wearing that? Or my favorite is when like people pass out absurd things, like giving kids oranges. Or I saw somebody did like in our neighborhood, mini potatoes with googly eyes. Like what?
Okay.
Just mess.
All of this is fun and community. The person, right? It's community, because if it was just Tuesday in March and an MFer in your neighborhood dressed up as Pennywise, the parents would form a posse and string them up. Right. But on Halloween, it's fun because we all agreed that's the magic of it. Is
look, we know Jen Landa revealed over the years that she's a former punk rocker, Grateful Dead. I love the dark side of Jen coming out, like scare children, make them cry. But it's community.
Give them potatoes with eyes.
Make a scary zombie in your front yard, like my husband did, literally terrorizing our adult neighbors. Where everyone from delivery people were like, "That thing is horrible. Take that down."
Ken, next year, if you get somebody to watch your Chihuahua, so they're not freaked out, you give out candy and you live stream some of it, so it's a little bit of a performance for you because you're used to that. I
saw someone doing that. Yeah.
You would love if you had all the logistics taken care of. There's no way you would not enjoy observing what are the kids dressed as. Your role is safe and secure. You don't have to put on a costume. You don't have to do anything that people don't want you to. It's just a little Kylo Ren comes up to you and you give them candy. If you take away the logistical issues,
but not the crackle. I keep the crackle.
I thought you said the crack. Like, don't give crack.
I'll keep the crack. And the crackle.
That was in the 80s.
Thank you for indulging me. I do feel guilty. I know I kind of scared those kids. I felt bad about that. It was my fault. I should have turned the light off. I didn't have time.
Yeah.
You gave them a story to tell their friends. Think of it like that.
I want to be that. We all had that house in the neighborhood. All have that house in the neighborhood where you're like, oh, there's a witch that lives there. It's haunted. Yeah. Like I think now that becomes my house. There's a cave troll who lives in there.
There's a grumpy old man. He has a Chihuahua familiar in there.
Yeah. I love it. You could totally have fun with that.
There you go. Well, there you go.
So many good takes. Our friend Molly Damon, a fellow lover of the dark side, says, we haven't been home Halloween night the past few years. We always put out a bowl of candy. Otherwise, I think the kids in our neighborhood would terrorize us. You just put out a sign that says take it. And that's all fine. Laserbolt Vids here says, I wear my Mando armor and take a drive around town with the top down on my car. People love it when I show them Grogu dressed like a ghost.
I love that.
But what Laserbolt's not saying is that's not Halloween. He just does that.
Lots of great takes. Love
it. Love it indeed. Hey, speaking of great takes, that's not a transition at all. We do want to do a little update. We know that Star Wars Visions Volume 3 is out. In the good old days of ForceCenter, we probably would have watched all 9 episodes 13 times by now and had a thematic breakdown ready for you. It's not where we are right now, but just we did want to provide an update. We are going to be thinking of Visions.
Yes, we are all still busy trying to catch up with life and everything in difficult times. But we want to talk about Visions, so we're going to try to break them down 3 episodes at a time. So next week we're going to talk about the first 3 episodes. I'm excited to watch them. I wanted to wait until I could have time to really pay attention to them and enjoy them, because sometimes when we were trying to always keep up with everything and get things out quickly, there was a little bit of a hungry hippo of like, eat it faster than you can savor it. So I'm really excited to watch 3 episodes and discuss 3 episodes at a time.
There you go. That's the plan. Jen, we're going to do that.
Yeah.
Get ready.
Yeah. Gonna get through my group project and then I'll tackle Visions.
No, I know it's beloved by so many people. We want to be able to take that swing through it. So we wanted to give you that update so you don't worry about us forgetting about it there or anything like that. We are going to get into the only real kind of bit of Star Wars news, but it's a conversation starter indeed. And that is that Manny Jacinto was speaking with TV Insider to promote Freakier Friday. We always want to, I like highlighting the projects that these performers and writers and directors are actually promoting when Star Wars comes up, but Star Wars is going to come up. Ended up chatting about all things Chimere and the Acolyte, and he did call it in that interview the role of a lifetime. With the fan push to resurrect the Hunt for Ben Solo project kind of dominating the news last week, Jacinto was asked about the chances of the Acolyte being revived, or at least the story of Chimere and Osha continuing. He said, I'm just pulling little things here before we get into the conversation. He says, I'm always ready. I would love to run it back if they'd have me. The article, I thought, was another example of people not understanding what the line somehow Palpatine returned was about. It's not an explanation. It's a reaction. But that's maybe perhaps, Joseph, a different conversation.
It is, and it's one we've had before. But yes, the article is framed as if Palpatine's return can be explained by Palpatine saying somehow Palpatine returned, then anybody can come back. And yes, to remix quickly, I think it's a little too fast and clumsy, but the explanation of how he returned is the line from Beaumont Kim of Dark Science Cloning Secrets Only the Sith Knew. Maybe you want more. Totally understandable. Poe Dameron's exasperated sigh, somehow Palpatine returned, is the same as, and also my carburetor broke. It's exasperation of how did more crap I have to deal with happen to me, happen to us. So I feel strongly about that.
I do too. And I don't like paid professional journalists who don't understand it having interviews. But anyways, I digress. I'm grumpy. Jen, you're a fan of the Acolyte. We are too. We love it as well. Chimere wasn't, I didn't connect with Chimere as much as other people did, but I know you did. So I really want to look at you first here and get your reaction to just even Chimere, the Stranger, getting a little bit of a spotlight here this week.
Yeah, with these types of interviews, I'm always like, "Oh, don't tease me. I really, I wish that we would get this character back. There was a time when I actually thought we might get this character back, but as of now, I don't think we're going to get it in the near future. I think he's a good sport. I'm like, what's he going to say? Like, no, like he had fun. He was great as the character, right? And like, I want this character back. I think that there's so many interesting things which we're going to dive into about this character, seeing a new type of villain than we've gotten in Star Wars before. So, yeah, I love his the way he answers these questions, because it's genuine and it's sweet, and it's like, gosh dang it, just make the Acolyte 2 or do a spinoff, something. Come on, Disney.
One thing I really appreciate about Manny, and this is not against anyone else in the show or anything, it's just availability, it's desire and everything. And I really think if you're Leslie Headland, you might be a little burnt by what happened, obviously, maybe less interested in talking about it. I totally agree with that. But he's been upfront and present and at conventions and everything. And like I said, again, I want to be clear, don't have an expectation that any of the other performers should do that as well. I just really respect that he's there to talk about it and celebrate a character, Joseph, that was part of a show that was loved by many people. People will try to spin that in another direction, but loved by many people. I really value that in him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he is following the path of a lot of people who talk about Star Wars in a wonderful way. I think Ryan Johnson continues to talk about the positive experience he's had and doesn't take the bait. J.J. Abrams gave one of my favorite answers ever when somebody shouted at him the opening weekend of Return of Rise of Skywalker. What do you say to people who hate the movie or what? It's something like, or didn't like the movie? He's like, well, they're right. It's their opinion, their reaction is correct. So I think got a pretty deep bench of people who don't take the hate bait, and I think it's great to see him continue to just be positive about his experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I generally think you're right. Like, would you like to come back? Would I like a payday in
Yeah.
this tough time as an actor? When most actors are packing up and leaving cities, and that includes like people of known quantities. Yeah, absolutely. Of known qualifications. Yeah. So let's just, I'll start general. We can go anywhere. We also want to take your thoughts here. We'll pull some questions and comments in from the audience. No calls today, but want to hear what your guys' thoughts are about this as well and the legacy of this character. Jen, where or just even how would you like to see the story of Khmer and Osha continue? I agree with you. I don't think it happens. Definitely not in Acolyte 2. But the character exists, and with Star Wars, they're on the playing field. Any dreamlike scenarios?
I would love to find out more about like how are they going to deal with Plagueis since he's literally looming in the shadows. Like, what does that mean for Khmer, for his relationship with Osha? Is Osha 100% on board with the dark side? Is she going to somehow double cross him? Like, how is their relationship going to be? Is it going to be genuine? Are they both going to be playing each other? Could we see some real romance between these two characters? I just think that there's so many interesting things because everyone is very duplicitous. Everyone has their own agenda. How do they all fit together? I think it'd be very fun.
Yeah. Do you have any, I think a lot of times a comic book or a novel comes up, video games, and I'm not being dismissive of those things because I've loved them all. But without a doubt, I bring up the example of the character of Kira, who I love the character, I love the performer behind the character in live action, but I also think that we didn't get enough, and she was a character in another character's movie, and so I don't want to just, even though I am currently enjoying the book, finally catching up to E.K. Johnston's book, I want live action, right? That's kind of, I have to admit that bias. So Jen, would you feel shorted if the character? I'm sure you'd be happy, but would you be, you know what I mean, shorted if he shows up in another spot that isn't live action, isn't a movie, isn't a story?
100%. It's Manny's performance that made it so fresh and alive and exciting. And the character was like, I want to know everything about this character. That was his performance. So I can't imagine, like, the humor that he wove into it. Oh my gosh, that's like so challenging with anything, especially with action and whatever, to weave in humor in an organic way. And he did that so deftly. It would just not be the same. I'm sorry.
I try to be so respectful, and I just want people to understand where I'm coming from on that. It's just I'm being honest in my reaction. Kira is in Outlaws. Yeah, okay, cool.
Not Amelia Clark. Like Amelia Clark is bringing something. Yeah,
I want her to cook. I thought she didn't get a chance to cook enough of that role. That's why one of the reasons I love the character. But anyways, that's a different conversation. Joseph, your thoughts on where, how, video games?
I agree that I would very much like to see Manny Jacinto get to play the role, and I think I feel the same way about Kira. I'm happy to have more tales of the character, but I love that character, and I think they're both characters that the magic really comes in the nuance, and that is so well done by those actors, and yeah, so I would love to see them both. I'll highlight this quickly. Marjo32 also says, you don't turn away water in the desert, in my opinion. I'll take anything out of the stranger.
Yes.
Yeah. There's the stranger, then there's the overall story of the Acolyte, and I think they're woven together, obviously. And I think if Leslie Headland said, hey, I feel that this isn't happening, and Disney's going to let me do a year-long comic book series, or Disney's going to let me write a book, or be the co-author of a book, and that's what she wanted, I'd say that's a bummer. But at least we get the story. But for what I want personally is I would love a season 2, or honestly, I would not mind at all to go back to that old model that happens sometimes of like, hey, we killed this, but we left the audience hanging. So we will spend some money on a compromise. And here's your made for streaming movie, or like back in the day with the television show of Firefly, of like, well, that's never going to get a second season, but here's a movie, I would love to see them start embracing the streaming world in general. It's like, if we don't feel like this can be an ongoing television show and don't have the money for it, let's finish the story. I think that the Stranger was always an element, that character that people responded to. And I think there are these sort of stirrings of the old Star Wars magic of people are mad at the thing when it comes out. It is targeted. Some people legitimately just don't like it, and it is targeted by bad actors, which Acolyte is both. Some people didn't enjoy it, and it was targeted by bad actors attacking it simply for daring to have diversity in Star Wars. But once that fades, the love of the character remains. They just announced 2 Chimera action figures, and sometimes the action figure community ain't great on diversity issues. Sometimes. Some people in the community are not great. People like this character. People want the action figures. Our friend, no, that's the wrong one I highlighted. Where's that? Will Dixon says the Stranger was just added to the Galaxy of Heroes mobile game, so hopefully that familiarity will make some more connections with people. I think there is the possibility of seeing this character return within the next 5 years, because I think the popularity of the character is going to grow, and it's I know it's really hard to talk about Star Wars and not be affected by the real world. I do think some of the cut and bait on Acolyte is corporations continuing to make decisions based on what way they think the sociocultural political wind is blowing, and I think that in my opinion, I have great hope that the tide will turn again sooner rather than later, and our better angels will emerge, and suddenly these corporations that are soullessly making decisions based on which way the wind, sociocultural political wind is blowing, will see dollar signs in their eyes when they look at the utter talent of Manny Jacinto and his incredibly powerful biceps, and suddenly go, actually, we never finished that story and we all loved it, and it was too bad. It was a tight time for the industry where the money just wasn't going and we had to stabilize, and we're so happy to reunite with Manny, who we've always loved. I don't think that is an impossibility.
I mean, right? Like I get Stranger isn't in the top tier, like I say at Obi-Wan, but one day he's a new thing that becomes a classic at one point. An Obi-Wan series, whether it was going to be a movie or not, doesn't matter. The fact that we got to play with that character again and hang out with Ewan McGregor on that character is one of the things I love about the series. So it's always possible. And more fuel to the fire. It was revealed in April at Celebration, but kind of recently picked up now, which is kind of how the news works sometimes, that the upcoming Art of the Acolyte book revealed that Leslie Headland had viewed Chimera as the first Knight of Ren. There's also music cues in the show, as we discussed then at the time. This is not necessarily something that should be considered canon, but something that was in the works. Manny talked about that there as well. But Jen, this is a little possible workaround of the Sith rule tool, the Plagueis of it all. Do you buy or sell this idea, and what would it have added to the character story for you to play that out?
I somehow forgot about this. I'm sure that we talked about it, but I totally forgot, and I was like, wait, what? I love the Knights of Ren. That was one of my favorite things from The Force Awakens, and wanting to know more about them. Who are they? Which I'm sure that there's some canon thing that I haven't dived into or forgotten.
Comics
also,
and stuff, yeah.
Sure. yeah.
They hang out with Kira.
Dang it. Yeah. So it's like, I think that they're like an interesting group. They seem younger and scrappier than our traditional Sith Lords. And so I want to know more about them. And what does it mean for Chimera to be the first Knight of Ren? Like, where, again, this could be answered in the comics. Where is he drawing from? Is it like some text? Is it some voice in his head? Is it his own kind of thing? Yeah. And did Osha have anything to do with it? Like, how does this journey unfold? I have no idea.
Yeah, I love what you're saying, and Joseph, when I say it's a workaround, and that was kind of maybe how it's viewed. It's just, to me, it's another added wrinkle here that you have this character that was first a Padawan of a Jedi, that maybe a failed apprentice on the dark side of it all, and a third option seems realistic and fertile ground. Yeah,
and I think it aligns with some of the Knight of Ren storytelling and the stuff about Chimera that I'm really interested in. I think, Chimera has that kind of, I don't remember the actual line right now, but when he kidnaps Osha initially, the kind of poetic line about wanting to have connection but knowing he can't because that isn't the way. And his whole thing is he's the reason for the title of the show. He wants an acolyte. He's been rejected by the Jedi.
Right.
We believe he's been rejected by Vernestra, is what we believe. He's been many of us believe he's been rejected by Darth Plagueis or will be, and he wants connection. But he seems to understand the ethos of the dark side more articulately than some of our other dark side characters, who realizes that I'm kind of trapped. I want connection, but that's not what this is about. So how do I ride that line? And I think the best storytelling about the Knights of Ren for me is in that Rise of Kylo Ren comic book, where we kind of see him joining the group. And there's some great storytelling in that, kind of setting up Kylo's need to kill his father specifically, where the rite of initiation to be in the Knights of Ren and to lead the Knights of Ren is, I can't remember the turn of phrase they use, but basically like the hardest kill. Like in order to be truly powerful in the dark side, you have to destroy the person that it's hardest for you to destroy. And I feel like that is kind of what Chimere's leading Osha to do. And what she ultimately does is she kills one of the people it's hardest for her to kill, Jedi Master Soul. And in that moment sort of breaks free in the same way Kylo thinks he's going to break free by killing his father, but just becomes trapped. So I think there's some great rhythm with some of the Knights of Ren, that they are on the dark side. They believe all these dark side things, but they're also like a band of buddies who travel around. So it seems like they're kind of like, well, we are the dark side. We reject connection. We only believe in power. Also, we all live in a van together and go from town to town doing cool stuff, finding things together. All of the dark side to me is this wrestling with, it's about passion. It's about doing whatever you want, but it also has this, it just like in real life, hate is always going to be based on us versus them. And eventually anybody close to you is going to become a them. So how do you actually be close to someone? And I think the Acolyte started to really go into those conversations.
Hey man, we're the Knights of Red. Take one of our flyers. We're at Beerworks Friday, 10 p.m. stage time.
We don't need anybody.
Yeah,
but I love the bass player. Yeah.
No, well said. I think, Knights of Ren, it's a separate conversation, but Jen, you touch upon it, coming out of The Force Awakens, we're talking about Force Awakens this week on the main show that comes out later this week. And without a doubt, there was some like, ooh, who are these Gwar-like characters? And we don't spend time with them in 8, and they come back in 9. And, as much as I love Rise of Skywalker, they're a great car commercial in episode 9. I don't need them to be more than what they are, but there's a lot there. And you mentioned that comic, Joseph, which is absolutely one of my favorite comic series out there. But there's Jen. In your mind, what's your fan fiction? Chimere, Osha, they team up, they stick around, they form a team. She leaves him. He's hearing voices with that mask. He's Smilo Ren, as people called him at the time. Where do you want to go with the Knights of Ren there?
Oh my gosh, with the Knights of Ren, you know what I thought of when you guys were talking about it was, remember that meme? Well, it wasn't really a meme. It was a video of like all these goths that were like dancing. Do you remember that? They're like under like a freeway. Does anyone remember that?
Oh yeah.
They're like dancing like this and stuff. That's like the Knights of Ren.
Sounds like a dream I had once, but yes.
It's a really funny video because they're all so serious when they're dancing. And I feel like that's the Knights of Ren, like you guys are saying. Like they take themselves very seriously, but they are like a quote unquote ragtag kind of crew. And I'm sure like well, they've got to have a leader, right? I'm sure that's explained somewhere, right? So
the Knight of Ren.
The Knight of Ren, yeah.
Right. And like there's gotta be like sorry, General Cameroni, God's dancing under a highway. Look it up. Look it up. This ancient internet. That's right, Michael. Exactly. Oh my gosh.
I just saw it recently on Blue Sky. It lives.
It's so because they revisited those Goths now. I forget how many years later, and they're not moving quite as fast as they once did. They've aged a little bit. I can relate.
The old internet.
Yeah. But I mean, just like the infighting with this group of people wanting to take power, because that's just always inevitable with the dark side, right? Someone wants to reign supreme and rule. So I could think that could be fun. How does he meet up with the rest of the crew? if he's the first knight of Ren.
I think he starts it, right?
Yeah, he starts it. So then,
yeah.
yeah,
It's fast. That's what's fascinating to me about it is taking his philosophies and, you know, the thing I love about the Acolyte is also sometimes the thing that frustrates me in the sense of, I think, like I almost got into this argument in real life recently where someone's like, well, you know, an Acolyte, which a series I love and is underrated. And I was like, I'm with you. That he was just like, you know, the Jedi steal children. And in fact, Carrie-Anne Moss's character says it. I'm like, you did not watch the series that you love so much. You missed the episode where they were told not to. There's a lot with Chimere that I want to explore that could lead to an operation like Knights of Ren that I don't think is exactly correct in terms of my own morality or philosophy on the world or Star Wars. I think he gets some things wrong, but it's fascinating that would lead to form this kind of other group that carries on through the Star Wars story. I think that's interesting.
Yeah, I think that in some ways that's the reason I want to see a Chimere continuation show the most is the character is fascinating. Manny's performance is fascinating. I think his ideology and what he says is incredibly dangerous. And it's not like I don't think it shouldn't be shared in a story. I think it should, so we can play with it. But I think the show had two objectives. One, to make some legitimate criticisms of the Jedi and show that they're, you know, failing at their own goals. But Chimere speaks in almost entirely in whataboutisms, like that scene where he says to Soul, like, I've faced my anger. What have you done with yours? And people tend to want to go make that all about Jedi Master Soul. That's right, Jedi Master Soul. What did you do to Osha? What did you do to those witches? How are you failing? How have you taken responsibility? Meanwhile, this is said by Chimere, a guy who goes around slaughtering people because he's furiously lonely. And it's like, he said, I've faced my anger. It's like saying, I've faced my action figure addiction by buying 200 more action figures. Have you faced your action figure addiction? And then some people are like, I did buy one I shouldn't have at Ross. It was cheap. And it's all about them. And like, I'm the one with the problem. And I think that's what's really interesting about Chimere's characters. He's shown to be almost like smart enough to know that his whataboutism is bullshit. And it'd be really interesting if he sort of tried to formalize that of like, I'm trying to convince myself that my perspective is acceptable. So now I'll formalize it into this little group with initiation rites of like, cool, you want to hang out in my dark side boy band? Then you have to kill the person closest to you. And you have to do this, but not this. And like, it seems like a character who is trying to make rules out of an ideology that just does not hold up.
Yeah. No, I agree. Again, all said with this, like, yeah, let's explore this. Like, I'd take it's the series. You're right, Joseph. The series is already called The Acolyte, which was kind of about him anyway. So Osha, I would and May kind of the main characters there. I would agree with that. But just maybe we could have an anthology series, not a Tales. We've had Tales of the Dark Side, but just like Darksiders, and it's all just philosophical conversations that these folks have, trying to twist themselves into knots to make these decisions. One final wrinkle before we dive even further into this and talk about the legacy and take some questions from the audience here. Manny also talked about exploring the relationship between Osha and Chimere, saying, I feel with a lot of the franchises that we currently have, it's missing the romance. It's missing a lot of love and relationships. We have the big fight scenes and the origin stories of these heroes and whatnot, but they don't really have a relationship with other people. It's such a weird thing, and that's why I love Chimere and Osha's relationship, because we were taking it back to having a relationship in this big world. I think we just need more of that. I think that's what made the characters and the story more compelling as opposed to just having big fight sequences, which I loved. So, Jen, looking at that, what do we like about the relationship? We've talked a lot before, but this adds another log to the fire, the conversation of what the state of romance and relationships are in Star Wars. And I know, Jen, right? If unless I'm assuming wrong, that hand touch was something you enjoyed.
Yes. Yes, it was fantastic. I mean, and I think that he's not talking necessarily about Star Wars and the state of romance in Star Wars per se. I have a feeling he might be talking a little bit more, and I might be putting words in his mouth, Marvel, a little bit, and kind of how things have gone that way. And I know Marvel, what is it, Cap and Peggy and stuff like that. But like I think we had Han Solo and Kira, which was a great relationship. That was fun. Obviously, Han and Leia, the one that started it all, Padme, Anakin. Like we've had romance in Star Wars. What I think was a little bit different about this one was it felt more like Bonnie and Clyde at the end, and that was fun for me because I'm like, ooh, these two are doing something really bad. Let's just play it out. Let's see how bad it can get. Let's see them make these terrible choices and turn on each other like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith type of thing. Like, because like I said, I don't trust either of them. I think that they could absolutely fall for each other, but I think that they could also play each other really well. And that it's just fun to watch. And they just naturally had great chemistry. And when you find that with actors, you don't always get it. When you find it, you capitalize on it because it's money making. You hear me? Money making.
Print that money. See?
Print that money.
Yeah, I like the Bonnie and Clyde thing. That we're not talking about the real history of it, but just the trope and the fictional historical characters they became. But yeah, I agree with that, Joseph. Your thoughts on romance, relationship, and making money, printing money in Star Wars.
Let's print romance money. Let's make some romance bucks. I remember talking about this during the Acolyte. I was like, I like it. They should have taken it even farther. It's like the episode where they kind of dance around each other when she's at his hideout. It's pretty unambiguously romance. He's talking about being passionate and allowing yourself to feel what you feel and all that. But I was like, take it even farther. I think it's a really interesting conversation. I think Star Wars almost always ends up being a didactic, meaning to teach. That's how George started it. Of here's a lesson of how to be. But along that journey, I think Star Wars is a safe place to play with bad ideas, and I think it's great for art and storytelling to show us. Choices are difficult and muddy and murky and deal with real life stuff. And we talked about this with some of the Reylo conversation about the sort of the dangers of the wounded bad boy archetype and the, maybe dating someone will fix this wounded bad boy. And there's lots of sort of dangerous real world murky things to play with. But that's for me, what art is for, is to play with dangerous ideas. And I just want them to go all in of, we know the trauma that's led them both to the dark side. Yeah, up to a point. They're both they've both have felt rejected by masters, kept away from the people they love. So they have this sort of ideological, we're angry at the world, and why shouldn't we use our power to express our anger? But then as a sort of subset of that, it's also like, and we're real horny for each other. And why shouldn't we be able to explore that too? It's that specific, like that idea of passion being explored as a part of the dark side would be fascinating, because it would be fascinating if they're like, yeah, we're physically really into each other, and I don't need them to be explicit in that, but on screen, but embracing that as a part of the storytelling, and then dealing with the fact that they are bonded by passion, but they're also both wounded by rejection. And to have a real connection, they have to open themselves up to trusting each other. And it becomes exactly what you're talking about, Jennifer, that question of, which do they want? Do they want the anger in the power that they perceive, in the freedom that they perceive that comes from the dark side? Or do they have to face their darkest wounds and trust each other in order to build a real relationship? And like, to me, that's the big question of what happens to them. Do they have this passionate love affair, but then eventually turn against each other because they're not willing to give up their wounds? They're not willing to give up the dark side. Or is this actually a happy story where maybe he starts the Knights of Ren, but eventually he and Osha face their fears, open up to one another, trust, and walk away from it all. And they got a nice hut on Yavin. Like, I know Leslie Headland has said it probably doesn't end well for them. it probably is a violent dark side Bonnie and Clyde thing where they go on a rampage and Darth Plagueis, or the next Darth after that, ends them. But the story is open and creators can change their mind too. So what if it actually became a healthy relationship? That stuff is all really fascinating to me. And I think embracing the romance and the passion is the road to it.
Yeah, I shouted off it recently. I did an interview with Grace Cosmeyer on Romance's Web with Star Wars, and it's one of my favorite guest appearances on ForceCenter because she had so many insightful things to say, just about the Raylo of it all, but just romance. And she said something that struck me of just, relationships are kind of about what are the things you're willing to give up or change for the other person. And that is just such a wonderful starting point, and why sometimes when it's absent, I think we feel it beyond just the sweeping romance of it all or the occasional thirst of it all, and bathtub time in weird space planets there, like we got with the Chimera. I want it challenges in the best of ways. So I like what you're selling here, Joseph. It doesn't have to end bad if we're to continue to tell a story. That's just a creator, showrunner going, yeah, I'm working on all of this, but yeah, most likely if we're to play it out, the odds aren't good, but it could be, and that's part of what's lost.
I'm gonna go grab my charger. My computer's gonna die. I'll be right back.
Don't die, computer. That's okay. I got a Chihuahua that really wants lunch too. So there you go. We're talking a little bit about the wrap up with some of the legacy here, but anything in chat, Joseph, jumping out to you as well?
Yeah, let's see. I wanted to grab a couple things. We had been talking earlier about Palpatine's return. Gaz Nottingham points out that Palp's return was also explained with the visuals of Kylo walking past Snoke's in the tank in Palp's callback line from the opera. Yes, there was just visual information that dark mad scientist crap was going on, and also he said, the pathway to the dark side is a pathway to abilities.
Yeah.
Some consider unnatural. So yes, I do continue to feel that.
Yeah,
I understand that a lot of people needed he force projected his spirit, and these are all clones, and Rey's dad is a clone, and all the answers that we did get outside of the movie, that some people needed them. But I also agree with Gaz's point that some of that was there visually on screen for the, hey, it's fantasy, and it was dark magic and dark science.
Yeah, agreed.
Yep. Maddie Warner said this a while back about Manny Jacinto. I feel like Manny deserves Chimera coming back. He's showing up at conventions, being the man of the people. That is also one of the things that makes me feel like the door is open. Is he was doing panels and autographs officially for Celebration Japan, right?
Yeah, I think he was there. Yeah, I think so.
One thing if he is like, there's conventions like Dragon Con of like the actors go as actors. It's not representative of the media. They go there as actors and collect money from signatures. It's a different thing for Disney Lucasfilm to be putting on Celebration and saying, we want to give this man a whole ass panel. Feels a little like keeping the door open to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, as I think the Hunt for Ben Solo kind of story highlighted for many people is Lucasfilm is its own entity in a larger corporation. So we don't know the entire story of the ending of the series. We don't know how many people voted yes or how many, what meetings were. So what you're talking about, Joseph, does give some hope of could be revisited. I don't have a lot of hope right now, nor does my dog for getting lunch. But you know what I mean? Like I think it's smart to point out that there's been some official support of him and the character.
Yeah, I think that they know that this is a popular character amongst part of the fandom, and I'm sure that they liked what he did. He's probably really pleasant to work with. So of course, I feel like they're never going to fully. Lucasfilm seems good about that. They never fully close the door on actors or characters, unless it's maybe Lord and Miller. But but overall, right? They seem to keep a good relationship with the people that they've worked with, because you never know.
Yeah,
and it is a hard truth that like anything else, that the business can be personal, and who knows what all the dynamics are. Like Manny seems positive, seems still involved, but who knows how Leslie Headland feels, or Mandela Stenberg. I mean, Amanda has let people know how she feels on Instagram at times, but
about reaction to the fandom.
mm-hmm.
That side, I don't even call that the fandom, but that side of the conversation. Yeah. Ethan Svetnik says one of my favorite moments watching the celebration coverage was Manny on stage getting applause and having the hosts giving him a stranger helmet because he didn't take one from the set.
Oh, amazing!
Yeah, I remember that. It was great.
Yeah. Feel free if you're in the chat and have a question or comment, let us know.
Anything there? Nick saying, assuming live action wasn't available, live to see more Star Wars animation. All of the Ninth Jedi, give me an Acolyte anime continuation. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I would prefer animated to book, because at least, then maybe we get Manny's voice.
That could be very dynamic. Yeah, that could be good.
Sorry, I'm choking here. So
no problem. Yeah. Jennifer, how important for you is it that the Acolyte continues versus this? Because there are other threads with Yoda, and obviously following up what is going on with both of the twins, not just Osha. But are you more wanting the entire thing to continue, or are you more focused on the Stranger and Osha?
The Stranger and Osha, but how do you do that without like Leslie Headland being involved? Because I really don't think, I don't know if she would be. Well, she probably would be willing to come back, but I just feel like I don't know where they would go from here. I'm sure she has a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to learn more from the Art of book when it finally gets in everyone's hands.
Yeah.
See what some of the clues were.
Go
for it, Jen.
No. I just was laughing at Vulcan nerd choking. Apology accepted. Admiral Napzok.
I tried jamming a lunch down my throat before we went live, and it did not work. One of the final things I want to get to here, and then we can continue some more questions, is Jen, what is the Stranger Chimeras place in the annals of Star Wars in terms of just a villain, a baddie, a design, a lightsaber fighter, a lightsaber wielder? Like he's high on a lot of people's lists here. Where do you look at the character? Assuming, hey, maybe this is the end. This is all he's got. Where does he rank? I don't mean that in just terms of the sports of it all, but just you as a fan.
I love the character because he is a different type of villain than we have gotten. We had charming Palpatine, who's very high status. But what I thought was fun about this character was that he was able to portray this, put on this low status, quirky, awkward, aw shucks kind of character, right? And I liked that. I thought it was very disarming, and I would be curious to see if he could continue doing that in other situations to bring people in and kind of trick them. It's a different type of manipulation. And I also think that there were glimpses of him kind of letting his guard down a little bit with Osha, where I was like, is he really letting his guard down? Or is this like, is he playing her? Like what is his motive? And I just thought that was really fascinating because he did it in a very different way than we've seen in Star Wars villains.
Yeah, truly unique in that regard. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so much going on with him. The design, the kind of dark version of Clark Kent, Superman. I'm gonna appear aw shucks to hide this. And I don't think that's a character that he probably was just putting on to manipulate May. That's probably a character that he plays out in the galaxy from time to time. So that would be fascinating to see continue. I think a character who has been rejected by both the Jedi and Sith is a really interesting perspective. I think the thing with Vernestra, there's also that weird sort of mystery of his actual age and appearance, and why he appears to be 30-ish, but Vernestra appeared to have rejected him longer than that because no one at the Jedi Temple remembers him or recognizes him. So I still think that there is a possibility that he's so much about duplicity and fake faces that, what if he is a shape changer? And he is actually, I'm actually 80 and I've been projected my entire life, and I'm going around as a hot muscle-bound 30-year-old, but I'm 82.
Great choice.
I'm an 82-year-old Claudite, is the truth. Would be really fascinating. And then I think just like I said, I think we've had lots of elements of his character, but never combined. We've had a little bit of the wounded bad boy in Anakin, as he builds up to being Vader. We definitely have a little bit of the wounded bad boy in Kylo Ren, but Kylo's he's not aware of that. It feels like he's too busy kind of throwing a tantrum and wrestling with his feelings. We have the element for Maul, where Maul kind of never wants to be alone, but I don't think he's willing to admit that to himself. He's like, no, Ezra would be a good apprentice, and I'll manipulate him, and I need it. And Maul won't really be honest with himself, but also I'm lonely, and Ezra's fun, and I'd like to hang out. What's interesting to me about Chimere is he knows he doesn't want to be alone. He knows he is, in appearance and vibe, a wounded, charming, sexy bad boy. He's aware of all of those things and using them to manipulate others and probably himself. And I think, when he says, I want an acolyte, it is the motivating factor of that part of the story, is that he doesn't want to be alone. And it isn't just in a Vader or Palpatine I'm being shrewd and moving chess pieces across the board. It's emotional. And I think that's what makes him different, is his awareness of, I don't just want an apprentice to follow the rule of two or as a chess move. I want connection.
Yeah, all that works for me. And I also just want to highlight, in terms of designs, it's pretty damn cool, and pretty damn cool still carries a lot of weight in Star Wars. I think it could be easy to dress in all black and accent it with something red, and you get a pass, like, oh, that's pretty stylish goth right there. But he I think he superseded even just the Star Wars villain stereotype with something new and different, and a style of lightsaber that even, Leslie Headland had said, when I asked for it, some of the prop people were like, I don't know if we can do this. It pushed some of the boundaries there. And I think some of my favorite moments in the series are him coming down into the frame like vampire, like a Dracula, so cool. That kind of stuff. And, even shirtless in the water. We haven't seen that a lot, Jen. We haven't seen a ton of that. We saw Kylo, saw Ben.
Yeah.
Anakin he had trouble sleeping.
Yeah. Can you imagine if Harrison Ford did that? Oof. Oof.
Quite frankly, is what Force Awakens was missing.
Yeah. I mean,
he did it in Dial of Destiny. He did it in Dial of Destiny. Mm-hmm. And the screening I saw, he got a round of applause.
Wow. I got to watch it. All right.
Yeah. There you go. I do like this from Jeannie from Tahini. Maybe he's why Plagueis is studying how to cheat death. I see that comment as Plagueis is one of those billionaires who's trying to de-age. Like, I'm biologically 42. You look like a weird mannequin. But that Chimere's like, I'm actually 80. And Plagueis is like, ooh, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's Plagueis' voice. I didn't know if you all knew that. No?
There is something about that one shot of Plagueis, the way he's lurking, that it does feel like he's going to become a meme in a second. He's going to take his little hands out and rub them together. Go,
Yes.
Oh boy. Yes. And there you go. All right. Getting to the end here. Thank you all for watching and listening. Any final thoughts? Yes, Franny, it is almost lunchtime. Yes. She every time I stream, she associates that with when the stream's done, we go get food of some sort. And so she's forcing me to.
Yeah.
Anyways, final thoughts, Jen, on Chimere Stranger as we get on out of here.
I hope it's not the last that we've seen of him or Manny in Star Wars. I do have a little bit of hope. There still is time. He's young. They could happen within the next 10 years. Why not?
There you go.
Yep.
There you go. love that. Nick, cheating death, you say? Joseph, final thoughts on Kamir and the legacy of the stranger.
Well, I don't know. I think later today I might face my action figure problem by buying more action figures. I haven't pre-ordered Chimera yet, but now it's getting hard not to.
Cast that dollar vote.
Cast that dollar vote. Yep.
Love that. Franny is as well. There you go. We'll start wrapping up here. Thanks for watching, listening. We got a retrospective kind of episode coming out on Wednesday, looking back at The Force Awakens, kind of promotion, the teasers, and just the movie, and 10 years of broadcasting. We're continuing to look inward and behind at what we've got going on here. You can find us on social media, ForceCenter Pod, or TikTok, ForceCenter Show. Don't forget you can support us directly at patreon.com/ForceCenter. And then get into the Discord and share where you're going to get your Ross Dress for Less action figure prices. Put it on a map. Jen, where can they find you and your toy buying decisions?
That's right. You can follow me on all the social media sites at Jennifer Landa. And as Cowboys Fan 92 says, tomorrow, vote.
I dropped my ballot in on yesterday.
Good for you.
There we go.
Yes.
Joseph, take us home. Where could you be found?
You can find me on most of the social media, Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, at Joseph Scrimshaw is my handle everywhere. Keep up with updates on the film I'm continuing to work on called Dead Media. And yes, I echo the encouragement to go vote. If you're in California, that Prop 50 thing is actually real important. If you have been frustrated with the way things have been going, this is an opportunity to do something strategic and productive. So it sometimes can fly under the radar. It's hard to make time to vote. But yeah, I did it yesterday too. Super fast, super easy. I would really encourage you, in particular, everywhere, but in particular, since it's where we live, if you're in California, look into that Prop 50.
There you go. Look into it indeed. That is it. We're out of here. We'll see you next time here on ForceCenter. Bye.